Thank you for listening. If you want to know more about us and our services, please visit our website at www.wsk9co.com.
Today we're going to talk about urban obedience, and really what that is to us is having a dog in the city, being able to have your dog understand how to be in the city, and I think urban obedience is pretty huge. What are some of the things, Melissa, that you find that is challenging for a dog living in the city?
There's a lot going on, and if the dog's not used to that, there are people walking past, some people trying to touch it, loud noises, other dogs, and if the dog's not used to all those distractions and how to maintain focus on you, that can be really overwhelming, and so the dog can just become too overwhelmed by a lot that's going on, and then you'll start seeing the dog act out in different ways.
Yeah. I don't think that we realize it, because if we're living in a hustle bustle city, that we tend to zone out on things, but a dog is not necessarily going to zone out on the same things. Michelle, what are some of the things that you've done to help your clients' dogs as well as your dogs with being in the city, or being around crowds, or being around the farmers market, or whatever that is? What are some of the things that you focus on with training?
It's a lot of socializing, and I don't mean socializing with other people. I don't mean socializing with dogs. I'm talking just socializing in different situations, like getting your dog out, getting your dog used to loud noises, taking them places like the airport, which, I mean, you're never ever really going to need to go there, but it's going to be crazy and loud, and helping people to see what's going on through the dog's eyes, because it's not natural for the dog. I think a lot of people, because dogs are social creatures, and we want our dogs to be a part of our lives so much, they assume that the dog has to be part of every aspect of our life, which they don't.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of teaching people that they don't need to go to certain places, but if their life is going to be in those things, getting them out, not pushing them too hard, too fast, going and just sitting at the airport. Maybe don't go inside. Maybe just sit and hang out on the outside where it's just cars going past.
Right.
I think it's a lot of teaching people what their dogs are seeing and what their dogs are going through.
Yeah.
And dogs are not social in the way that we are social.
Right.
They are definitely pack animals, so they like their people and their pack. And I'm not saying that all dogs, some dogs love everybody, but but socializing to environment. That's the word I'm looking for.
Yeah.
Socializing to environment versus just socializing with other dogs and other people.
Right. Shannon, what are some of the things that Louis, one, enjoys about being in the city, and things that he tolerates?
He's a people doggy. He loves people, and he loves people. He thinks people were invented to come and pet him and give him love and kisses. And so he likes to go out on walks, see all the people. He likes to sit in the yard and watch all the people go by and have the people come and be like, "Oh, you're such a cute doggy." And then they just, leave and go along. He does not like other dogs very much. And there's lots of, because all these people have dogs. So he tolerates them. He's not aggressive to dogs. But he tolerates them walking by our house or coming to our yard or things like that. He likes to go for car rides. He likes to go places, but only for about an hour is when he gets bored, and then he wants to go home. So mostly he loves to be home, but he does like to go on like a mini adventure.
Yeah, and I think that's recognizing that, one, your dog doesn't have to be involved into everything. Two, what their tolerance level is, so that you don't set them up to fail and to become grumpy and to become, aggressive. Michelle, Melissa, what are some of the things with having Cooper that you help her stay focused on her job amongst chaos?
When we're out and about, so we don't go out and about too often in the city. We go up in the mountains, and so we've had to actually be proactive and be like, we need to get her into these places that, even though Nick and I don't really enjoy going to these places, we go take her to kind of get her used to different environments. And for her, we really just have to redirect. And like Michelle was saying, dogs are social in their pack. And for her, Nick and I are her pack. And so she will be with us and she'll be great. And she tolerates people going past. And she loves watching people and seeing what they're doing. She tolerates them coming to pet her.
Yeah.
She doesn't particularly love it. Some people she will, but usually it's just, okay, yeah, I know I need to let you pet me. And we let them go, but not setting her up to fail, not pushing her into people's laps and kind of redirecting, okay, this is your pack. And if she does get a little too bossy out and about, we give her jobs. And, okay, you're going to stay and heel. We're going to make you lay down. We are going to work you. And then she focuses back. And that we really had to use that when we went up to Canada. And because that was a big change for her, being on a ferry with tons of other people and tons of other dogs, and then landing in Victoria and big city and wading through customs. And we really had to focus on, okay, this is your pack. Let's focus right on here.
Right.
Let's tolerate this, watch the world go by.
Yep.
And she did great with that.
Yeah.
But recognizing their boundary.
Yep. Yeah. I think, for my shepherds, Bora just trudges on through. I mean, anybody wants to touch him, great. Like, he's just super whatever dog. Chianti meets the energy. And so when I have taken her downtown with some other training dogs that I was using her with, it was a nightmare because she meets energy. And so the whole time she's like, it was just this constant, and I was getting stressed out because she was just meeting that energy of the hustle and bustle of the city and the train. And so, it's not that she hated it. It's just that she meets energy, and that was just not that wasn't fine. I mean, it was fine for her, but it was not fine for me. And so with urban obedience, it's not about sitting at your side, and it's not about a downstay. It's more about what, Michelle?
I would say it's more about, sadly, your dog tolerating the stuff that they hate.
Yeah.
Teaching them that they're going to get through it. They're not going to die.
Yep.
Like, this is weird. It's weird for us too, but they're not going to die. Accepting strangers touching them. Ignoring dogs walking past as much as they possibly can.
Yep.
Everything I think about, like when we did urban obedience classes, I'm like, this is so not normal for a dog.
Yeah.
So just getting them in those environments and making them tolerate it.
Yeah.
And being honest with your dog about it and being like, yeah, this does kind of suck, doesn't it?
Right.
Through some of it. Some dogs love it. And there definitely were times that it was fun and exciting and for everybody involved. But there's definitely those times that are going to be stressful, and we're stressed. We're both stressed. We're stressed together. But we're not dead.
Yep. And I think, it's understanding their stress and like helping you being the strength, and you're going to get bumped into, and you don't need to get aggressive. And it's those little nuances of being in the city, Melissa.
What Michelle was saying just reminded me, and for Cooper, I know if she's becoming too overwhelmed, because she'll start getting more into herding position, and her border collie brain will turn on, and she will try to control the hustle and bustle going around her. And so it kind of was frustrating for me in the beginning, because I would be like, Cooper, no, don't do this. But then that's her nature, so I just had to redirect. Like, no, your job, come up and sit by me, which I usually don't let her just come up on places, but if she sits on the park bench next to me, that herding brain is off. It's a different picture, and I'm not setting her up to fail by letting her on the ground and letting her be, but kind of changing that picture up for her and knowing, okay, when she's trying to herd everything and control things, this is too much for her.
Yep. I think with, as we talk about obedience and what we do out in the city, some of the important things are a really good formal heel. Dogs knowing that they can go to the bathroom in chaos is another thing that may not be normal. And it may, if you get a puppy and this is city life and this is how it is all the time, versus getting a rescue that, a lot of the rescues aren't running around downtown. They're in more of the suburbia type places. And so, All of a sudden you get a dog, and we have all these, fabulous condos and apartments that allow dogs, and now I have to go down and pee and poop amongst chaos and the street and, everything else that they've like kind of stayed away from to survive in a way. That, being patient and staying consistent, and it's not about a show performance. It's about maybe the right side is a better side than the left side for your dog for heel, and maybe sitting between my legs is a better position for them to sit in to help decrease that stress, and sitting up on the park benches instead of sitting down on the ground where they're more vulnerable and they're going to take charge of things. House training, from walking from the condo on the 5th floor to the elevator, down the elevator, out to the pee and poop area. And I don't want to go there because there's 12 other dogs that just went there. And so I think that there's a lot for us to think about as dog owners in the city of, what's the perspective from them, and that it is urban. This is like city living. What is important and how should it be? Not just, I want to have the perfect country dog in the city, because it just doesn't make sense. It's too stressful. It's, bringing, a person from the country into the city it's stressful for them. And I think that's kind of how we have to look at it is dogs were bred for a purpose. There's herding, there's protecting, there's hunters, there's the lap dog, and so I think it's, recognizing what you have and not just saying, well, you'll be fine because we're fine. This is how it is, but helping them have the tools to be successful within the city. Shannon, do you have anything to add?
Just keep in mind that city people that live in the city, we like to live in the city because we like more stimulation. It's our personality that we want to be doing all these things and going all the time. And dogs are made to have stimulation and rest and stimulation and rest. And so if we have a dog in the city, we have to build in quiet resting times for them to be away from the stimulation is a really integral part of helping them do well at training when you're out working. And you have to realize that being in the middle of the city and eating brunch on the patio of a restaurant while the city goes around you is really stressful for the dog. And to ask them to lie at your feet and not do anything is a high expectation, which can be achieved, but it takes a lot of work and a lot of understanding on our part to know that we're asking the dog to do something that's really difficult. And they can do it, but it takes a lot of work and a lot of patience.
I had a client who is a business owner, and she lived in condos above all these restaurants. We're below. And then her business that she owned was like across the street. And her dogs just could not settle. They were a train wreck, afraid of a lot of things because they didn't know what the noises are. And mind you, these condos were concrete, like warehousey feel condos. And so a lot of echoing. And so it was really hard for the dogs. Like her balcony overlooked one patio of a restaurant that was just constantly busy. And these two were just exhausted. I mean, all day long of just this chaos that was happening. And so we actually ended up crate training them, and they stay in her office at work during the day because it's quieter there. And so it was easier for them to come home because she was at work most of the time anyway. And so she would stop over, get them out, and they never got rest. And so now she's able to walk them around and them not bark at everything because that's all they were doing all day long. And so they get out of their quiet place and they walk around downtown, and then they're ready to go back to bed into the quietness of her office, and where her office is perfect. So we had to change that, and that's not always easy for everybody. She did eventually end up moving out of the city, and so now they have a yard and it's quiet and they love it. And then they're just much better dogs, but sleeping is important, and finding a place for quietness that's important as well, because they can't always tone that out. Anything else to add to urban obedience?
I have a few things. If anybody out there is listening that doesn't have a dog yet, but they're considering getting a dog, think about what that dog's future is. I'm not saying a border collie can't be in the city, because we all know they can be.
Yep.
Melissa lives in the city, and she's got a great border collie. I live in the city. I have a herding dog while I live more suburb. But he comes into the city, and he's okay. So I'm not saying that you can't, but think about what that dog's life is going to be like.
Yeah.
And get the right dog for you, and the right dog in the right home is so important. I really feel like that is half the battle.
Yeah, I agree.
With training.
I
Or
agree.
more even.
Yeah.
If you get the right dog in the right home, life is going to be so much easier.
Yeah.
And also, it is your job to protect your dog. So even if you have to be rude to other people that are out in the city and tell them, no, you're not allowed to touch my dog. No, I don't want your dog meeting my dog. It is your job to make sure your dog does not have to defend himself.
Yeah, I agree.
That's one thing I was thinking about. Is another part of urban obedience is the obedience of other people, and
Yeah.
kind of being aware of what your dog's feeling. And we would have to tell people all the time, like, no, and we just be like, Cooper's shy. She doesn't want to say hi, but most of it is she doesn't want people grabbing her face.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
if she approaches people, like, she's nice, she's not going to do anything. But
right.
no dog likes some stranger coming up with a stroller and pushing into their face and grabbing their face. It's stressful. And so it's not bad to say, no, you can't pet my dog, or no,
Right.
my dog doesn't want to say hi to your dog, or anything like that. It's good to protect your dog, and that's what you should do.
Yeah, and I think having the same respect for others out there as well. Like, we as human beings have to have the obedience to go, I don't need to touch every dog. I don't need to see every dog. I don't need to, my dog doesn't have to greet every dog. I think it's just something that we have to put ourselves in check with, that's not what it's about. And it's about your dog feeling safe and that they can do it, and sometimes really enjoy the city, and it doesn't bother them at all. And that's, back to Michelle, is getting the right dog and in the right environment, and that they can cope. And I think those are really good points. Being able to get your dog out of the city occasionally is just as important as well. Even for the horses that, as we're training and rodeoing and all of that, we still try and find the time to get them out on a trail ride and, doing something different. So it's important for our dogs to have a different picture sometimes too, to just give their brain a break somewhere. So
Thank you for listening. If you want to know more about us and our services, please visit our website at www.wsk9co.com. And as always, we urge you to get out and train.